it sounds like Evander Kane is going to miss a little bit of time.
Oh,
We're talking like maybe the potential for 2 weeks. It's possible that he works his way back before then, but what he's dealing with is a really painful injury that could keep him out for just a little while. So nothing too concerning, but just wanted to add that kind of it doesn't change at all what the Oilers are thinking deadline perspective wise, but at least getting to that point, it's at least a consideration.
yeah, so nothing that's gonna be able where the Oilers can LTIR them like some teams are doing with pieces like Mark Stone. It's not gonna
No.
change their deadline strategy, but Evander Kane potentially out of the lineup here for a couple of weeks. Let's talk about another Kane. I know we've gotten your take on it a few times, but the chat is buzzing. The Patrick Kane to Edmonton idea. You've been on it for a bit, talking about that as a potential fit as we draw closer to the deadline. More or less likely, really one of the final teams here? And do you have any insight on how the Patrick Kane thing, like, could it even happen? Is there a chance he stays in Chicago?
Well, there is a real chance that he stays in Chicago. And I would say right now, based on the way I'm reading the tea leaves, that there's a 60-40% chance that he stays in Chicago. He just goes back to the Blackhawks and says, look, I'm just not ready to move. We'll play out the contract and see where things go from there. It's just not the right time. So that's certainly something that could happen. Patrick Kane has been doing his homework and his due diligence behind the scenes to find out as much as he can about some potential destinations and fits. If he were to go to the Chicago Blackhawks and say that he's ready to be moved, the common belief out there is that he's only going to present one team, much like Claude Giroux with the Philadelphia Flyers last year, where he said, I'm only willing to go to the Florida Panthers. And so that left the Panthers and the Flyers up to negotiating a trade. I think there's a chance that if Kane gives one team and it doesn't work out, or that team isn't interested, or they go in another direction, that he could circle back with a second team. But that's sort of the expectation going in. Here's the problem is that there's been no indication given to anyone that Kane is going to provide any teams. So that is like quite literally the very latest on Patrick Kane.